All right, so this is part 2 of my Q&A video, Ask Me Anything. The first one probably went way too long, and so I've split it up at some point. We only know at the editing portion, and so I'm not sure exactly where I have cut the first video and picking up the second, but I hope you enjoyed the rest of these questions, so let's just dive in. How long does it take after watching a movie or series to put together your thoughts and sit to film a review? It varies. Like when I was seeing movies in the theater before the whole COVID thing happened, I would, on the way home, I was thinking about my thoughts and just, so I would get home and then write them down. I try and write down as much of my thoughts as I can, just so that I be sure to capture the points that I really want to get across. Sometimes it takes me, 15, 20 minutes or even an hour to write down the thoughts. And then it takes another 20-ish minutes, 20, 30 minutes to film the actual review. And then editing it, cuts it down to, I don't know, it takes another 30, 45 minutes, something like that to edit. So it's not a quick process from beginning to end. Sometimes I'll sit on a movie review overnight and I'll let it just percolate in my head a little bit and just kind of, try and dissect it a little bit more. I have reviewed some, sat down to edit them, and realized that I didn't say everything that I wanted to say, or that I didn't say it as clearly, or that I didn't agree with myself anymore. And so I'll scrap that and then come back a little later and re-record my review with new thoughts or added thoughts to that. And basically when I do that though, I have to start over because I film in my den and my camera, as much as I would like it to, is not always in the same spot. And so I have to put things away and then pull them back out. And just for continuity, so it looks better, I will just, start from beginning and then re-record the entire thing. Advice for YouTubers or reviewers. Gosh, you know what? I think be yourself. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Be consistent, be yourself. There's a ton of eyeballs. And so whether you're doing a movie review channel or a review channel of products, or you're doing a vlog or whatever that is, I think as long as you're genuine and you're yourself, that makes it easier. If you're trying to be fake, then it's going to be hard to maintain that over time. You know what I mean? Because at some point your personality is going to stream through. And if that is in conflict with what you're trying to put forward, people are going to see that. So you basically get me. I mean, sometimes I temper a little bit of my thoughts, but for the most part, it's what you see is what you get. This is how I am in real life. I get passionate about things. I get passionate about movies and topics in movies or topics in TV shows. And so hopefully that comes across. Other advice, if you're starting like a YouTube channel, respond to people. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about this. I love the community. I love getting all of the comments. I love responding to as many of them as I can. As the channel grows, honestly, it is getting a little tougher because sometimes I get a ton of comments, and so I do my best to go back through and respond to just about all of them. I get the trolls. Sometimes, like everybody does, I don't really respond to those unless they say something that makes me laugh. And I can say something back that's going to make me laugh also. And it's not to pick a fight. It's not to demean somebody. It's just because if a troll said something that made me laugh, well, good on them. Whether they were insulting or whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then if I have a witty response back to it, then I will respond. But yeah, I think, as long as you're yourself and you take the time to do that, to be genuine and to find your niche and whatever works for you as you're doing it. And then be consistent. If you're putting out a video a month, then put out a video a month. I mean, life is crazy and life is hard. And your schedule, probably like mine, is going to vary. And if you have time to do a video every day, and that's what you want to do, and that's what you're committing in your own head to do, well, then do it. That's awesome. And don't take any gruff off of anybody for posting too many reviews or for posting too little reviews. You know what? This is your thing. I mean, if it's your channel and you've started it, then do what works. And hopefully, people will respond to that. And I think a lot of people respond when you're genuine. Marcy wants to know, what do I do in real life, as I am very insightful and articulate? Well, I appreciate that. I try and be insightful and articulate, but as you've seen sometimes from some of the bloopers, I am not nearly as articulate as I would like to be. Talking is hard. Right now, I do marketing for a health system. in a hospital system. Before that, I worked 20 years in radio, doing marketing and promotions, and then building out websites and video production for clients. And so it was media based, really entertainment based. Radio is a job that I never worked a day in my life, and I absolutely loved it. And yet, if you ask any of my colleagues, would we want our children to go into radio? Absolutely not. It's that weird thing where you don't ever want to try and talk somebody into going into radio, but if you're in radio, it is such a spectacular job. Very tumultuous, and I was laid off after 20 years, and that just happens as part of corporate radio. So, you go with that. There's very little job security. I've been in, when I remember one time, whether or not you find this interesting, but I left one day, came back, and all of the DJs had been fired. The format had changed of the radio station overnight. And that's the radio business right there, where, especially in corporate radio, where they decide, well, we're going in a different direction. And, so if you're on air, well, bye-bye, you're gone. Luckily, I wasn't on air. I was in promotions. I was in doing marketing and stuff like that. So I was able to retain my job longer. Somebody wants to know, quite a few of my reviews are about true crime documentaries. How come you find them so fascinating? And aren't they pretty gritty? Well, they are, actually. I don't know. I'm drawn to that. I mean, when I read crime novels, murder mysteries, stuff like that. I'm drawn to that dark. And true crime documentaries, they're a little different than watching, like something fictionalized. I think it's more disturbing when it is real. And I'm drawn to it. I find it fascinating. I love it when the people are caught and brought to justice. I think it's terrible that the crimes actually even happened. And I don't really know why. I don't know if that's just a nature of society and surrounding, or if it's just, maybe that says something about me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a hidden psychopath that I know of, that you know of. But I think probably the crime documentaries are also just as a natural correlation with the type of shows and movies that I'm drawn to anyway, because it is that dark, it is that murder mystery type of thing, or the twists and the turns. And in fictionalized stuff, I love that. I love twists, I love turns. I love it when a show, a movie, a director can pull something over me, when they can surprise me when I didn't see it coming and they've tricked me. I love that. I don't get ticked off at that, because I'm like, hey, good for you. Because half the time, especially in those types of movies, I'm trying to figure it out. I want to know what the twist is. And when I can't figure it out, oh, that's genius. That's brilliant. I mean, and I think really that's why probably half the people pan M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, because they had the wool pulled over their eyes and they were tricked. I was tricked. I loved it. And I still love it. I still will rewatch that and sit there and watch as I'm watching through the entire thing. And are there any clues that I pick up on that give the ending away? And I still don't find any. Eric wants to know what my setup is. He wants to start a stream or YouTube for gaming, not movie reviews, so no competition. That's okay. If you want to do movie reviews too, I give advice if you want to know. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not the expert, end all be all, but I am more than willing to share what I know, what I've learned. I currently use a Canon EOS RP with a 24-105 f4 lens. I have a Rode Video Mic Pro Plus microphone and just some I don't know, $60 tripod. I have a couple of lights that I use as well. So I don't geek out totally and lose everybody. I mean, you can always email me. My email's in the About section, I think, on YouTube. You can hit me up on Facebook through Messenger, or you can even message me on Instagram too. But I can give you a lot more details. I've upgraded my camera recently because I wanted to go from a crop sensor camera to a full frame so I can utilize lenses better and get not have them zoomed in just automatically by the crop sensor on the camera. But yeah, I mean, work with what you got. If you've got a cell phone and it picks up decently, then use that. You know, if you've got a camera, I already had a camera. Because I was doing filming stuff for other things outside of YouTube before I even started my YouTube channel. And so I had all this equipment. So I started the game a little bit ahead of some other people. I didn't have to make some of these investments right off the bat. But you know what? If you've got a cell phone, awesome. You know, lighting though, if you want to pick up lighting, that's pretty important. Even if it's a cheapy ring light, that something to illuminate you so that you're not dark. That really helps. The audio quality, I find, is probably one of the most important things just in this. There have been times, especially if you look at my earlier videos before I had a decent microphone, not only from a time standpoint was I spending a ton of time trying to fix the audio from my microphone that was not working as well. It just didn't sound as good. And I would rather on YouTube watch a video that is kind of lower video quality but has better sound than something that has terrible sound and amazing video quality. Because, you know, I don't have to always be watching it to hear it, but I don't want it to be grating on me when I'm listening, if that makes sense. So have I ever fallen out of love with a movie or show or realized it wasn't as good as I thought? I find that sometimes when I go back to older shows, especially shows that I had watched as a kid, where the memory of it is much better, and so it's best to just avoid it and don't rewatch it. You know, like I think Speed Racer. When the movie came out, the Wachowskis' Speed Racer, which I know a lot of people didn't enjoy that movie, I loved it. I thought it was it was visually stunning, and I was drawn to it. And it also reminded me of the old TV show. But I went and rewatched the old TV show. I tried to watch it. Oh, it was terrible. It was unwatchable. It was just horrid. And so I just thought, you know what? I'm going to keep the memory in my head. But for other things, I mean, like there are shows that still hold up, like the original DuckTales, if we're going to go animation. The original DuckTales, oh my gosh, that's actually the reason why I got Disney Plus at the very beginning. That was the original motivation. I haven't watched the remake of DuckTales, because I think it's an abomination. You don't need to remake something that is perfect. And I love that show. Now, we've also got Mandalorian, which is amazing, and that's probably better than several of the Star Wars movies that we have gotten. And that's the reason to continue keeping Disney Plus. But, you know, just, I mean, I'm not sure that there's shows or movies where I went back and watched them and was like, oh, this is just bad. No, you know what? There is. I rewatched, I don't know, a couple of years ago, My Fair Lady with Audrey Hepburn and Rex Harrison. And I loved it growing up. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was just, you know, the music, the delivery, the interactions. I went back and watched it again, and I ended up getting rid of the movie. I didn't like the message. I didn't like how it was just portraying. I didn't like the chauvinism that was in there. And I understand that is part of the movie, but I didn't like how it resolved at the end. And you might disagree with me on that. You may still like My Fair Lady a lot, and that's okay. But that is one where it was better for me to keep it as a memory of liking it than to have rewatched it and realized that, I just am not into this movie at all. All right. I always wonder about all the books behind you. What are your favorite books or some general recommendations? Well, it's kind of hard. I mean, I have a favorite writing duo that I read all of their books, and that is Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. And they write basically like crime drama-ish with a little bit of sci-fi in there. Douglas Preston also writes for National Geographic and Smithsonian. And so what I love about their books is that they bring in real information, whether it's about a place or about a thing, and then they put a slight twist to it. And so it has that air of realism to it and plausibility. And so I love that. I've also read some of Douglas Preston's standalone nonfiction works, and I found them very interesting. So for me, those are the two that I really go for. I enjoy some Stephen King. I used to read Robin Cook, medical thrillers back in the day. Crime dramas, a lot of it, mysteries. So Robert Brenza, even I've tried Tana French. I do not like her. and not, well, I don't know her. I don't like her writing. I don't like her books. So I would stay away from those. And I've given several of her books an opportunity, and every single time have walked away just utterly disappointed and mad. And so yeah, not a fan of that. Gillian Flynn, I like her stuff. So I don't know. I mean, for me, yeah, it's crime stuff. It's dark. It's mystery. Murder mystery type of those things. Let's see. I see you cover lesser known shows and films as opposed to larger films. Is there a particular reason for that? Well, I do larger stuff also, but I think partially it was a business decision. As I look at YouTube as a business for me and something that I'm trying to grow, I was trying to find something niche. A lot of people who do movie reviews, they do a lot of the popular stuff, which is outstanding. And I want to do that too, because that means a lot of eyeballs. But I also try to do things that are maybe a little more not on the beaten path, because those sometimes, I mean, YouTube is a global audience. And so I don't want to always just cater to the American audience. And that's why I do a lot of foreign stuff. And when I say foreign, I mean non-English. And that is not something that I just started doing for YouTube. I mean, I have been into indie films and foreign films for basically as long as I've been watching movies, at least as an adult. And so this isn't something new for me. It's not a branch out. It's not like a business plan item for me in that aspect. I love them. I love watching and learning from new cultures. Love seeing what different cultures can bring and how they make films and how they tell stories. I gotta say, for a while there in the late 90s, I was not thrilled with French films. I would watch them and they would end. And I was ticked, because it was like, wait, what? Why did it just end? That makes no sense. There were a couple of films sometimes where I didn't understand the concept either, or not the concept, but the context. And I wanted, because it was cultural. And because I wasn't from that country or from that region, I didn't necessarily understand what was being referenced within there. Luckily, some of these movies had like special features on the DVD. And so I would watch the director's interview and some of the explanations with that. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, that was a wonderful movie. I had left it going, that was a waste of my time. And then once I understood all of the facets of it, then it became, oh, wow, it makes it so much more rich and deep and enjoyable. That's also why I do some explanation videos, because I think sometimes, you know what, a movie might be confusing. And I know that I don't have all of the answers for them. And so that's why, I like to do that and have everybody else also give me what they think of what a film means, because then we get a greater understanding of what we've just watched. And I think it can raise the appreciation level of it. Now, sometimes you may still understand the film completely, see all of the different explanations, all of the thoughts and theories, and still walk away going, well, that was a crap film. Fair enough. I get that. So is there a place I would like to visit before kicking the bucket? Well, I haven't traveled a ton. I mean, I know people who have traveled all over the world. I've been to a couple of places that I absolutely love. I've been to Guatemala. That place has my heart. I love it there. I've been to Ukraine. I toured the countryside there, and that was just a beautiful country as well. We were supposed to go to Europe, to UK and Paris. This year, 2020, and actually just a couple weeks prior to the filming of this. But COVID happened, and so all of that changed. And I'm not sure when Americans will be allowed in other countries, honestly, because we tend to have a problem with wearing masks and keeping ourselves healthy. And so other countries have said, no, thank you, you're not allowed to visit. I would like to go to Europe, all over Europe. I want to go also to some places in Mexico. I want to see some of the Aztec ruins. I would love to go to Machu Picchu as well. Just some of these places, that have this old architecture, and to see just some of the new and cool, or not new, old and cool things that people created way back when. I mean, I would love to go to Egypt and see some of those pyramids there, and the different tombs, and just the different sculptures that have been created. And the world has a lot of awesome places to view and to visit. I have friends that have gone to Thailand and seen some of their pictures, and it looks absolutely stunning and amazing. And they also, on the way home from Thailand, I think stopped in China, and they rode some kind of like, not a roller coaster necessarily, but it was like a scooter type of thing, or a sled ride down from parts of the Great Wall of China. I want to do that. I think that would be outstanding. And so I know that almost in every place on Earth that there is something cool and exciting to check out. And so I don't have necessarily one spot that I really, really have to go to before I die. I just want to see as many as I can. And luckily I'm young enough, and if health holds up and the world opens up again, then I will be able to go with my wife, and we will travel as many places as we can, see as many things as we can, and experience as many different cultures as we can. Jared wants to know, who is your all-time favorite character, whether it's movie, book, TV series, real life? Cheese. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It's an animated series. It was on Cartoon Network. If you've never seen it, it's an amazing, phenomenal TV show. Actually, though, you know what? I'm going to change my answer. I love Cheese, but it's Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, Bill Watterson. That he encompasses everything. He's creative. He's snarky. He's wildly intelligent. He's also very vulnerable. He's a little stupid. And he speaks to me. He has his best friend who is always there for him, whether or not other people realize it or not. And so yes, Calvin is my choice. Cheese is a close second for a whole bunch of different reasons. Lola wants to know, what is my favorite series? I'm going to take that as TV series. Dark on Netflix, German, hands down, greatest show ever created. I will fight you for that. Now, there are other series that I love that are done extremely well and exceptional and very entertaining. And some of them have held the test of time. I really enjoy MASH still. Love that show. But Dark is one of the most complex, convoluted, and yet straightforward shows that I've ever watched. And it hurts my brain. It melts my mind to watch it. If you have not seen it, watch it. All 3 episodes are on Netflix. You can watch it from start to finish. That is the best way to watch it. Don't stop. Don't get halfway through it and go, well, I don't understand. It answers it. It really does. It will answer everything. And even if you think that there are maybe a couple of plot holes at the very end, well, that's okay. But they at least, they wrap it up well. They tell a really good story. So check out Dark. If you have not, stand by it still. The greatest TV show ever made. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up with one final question. This comes from Eric. Do you think the S or C is the silent letter in the word sent? I love this question. I really actually think the silent letter is the E, because the S and the C, not known to many people, when put together, create an eh sound. So automatically you have SC creates a se, and so then you just have NT. So E is the silent letter. Thank you for that. I believe that there should always be some very random questions. You should always have one question in your bank. So when people ask, whether it's a presentation or anything like that, whether or not you say it out loud or not, but because it really does depend on the audience, but have one there. My question is, that I always go with, is what is the average rainfall for Uruguay? That's stupid and random, and nobody knows. Sometimes it makes them chuckle, and I only use it in audiences and people and groups where I know that it will be real well received. You don't use that in an interview process or anything like that, But hey, thanks for sticking with me through all of this. I hope that it has been somewhat informative. Maybe you watched the entire thing. Maybe you noped out of this halfway through or right at the very beginning. Either way, hey, I really appreciate you watching. I've been on YouTube now 3 years, and it has been a wild and a fun ride. I hope to do it for many, many, many more years to come. I hope that this becomes at some point my main gig, the thing that I get to do as just my only job. That means that I have become a true professional couch potato, and I love it. So thanks so much for joining me. If you have more questions, you can ask them in the comments below. I will answer as many as I can, and who knows, maybe I'll save up some more sometime for another video. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll see. It depends on how well this one is received. This may crash and burn, and that, you know, we just know right there and there that, well, you have voted, and I fully accept that. Either way, though, I totally appreciate you watching. If you can, give this video a like. It really does help the channel. It helps my videos get seen by other people who have not checked out my channel before. But hey, thanks for joining me. My name is Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.